So I will go through this rather quickly. I'm going to grab Vine charcoal. I'm going to sketch out my sphere. I can always make corrections as I go. I'm going to indicate the ellipse where the base touches the sphere, as well as that wider ellipse going down for that bottom of the base. I can make corrections, of course, and I want to indicate where that cast shadow is. I'm going to separate my lights and darks, assuming that my light source is coming from the right side. So next I'm going to also look for the core shadow. Where is that separation between light and dark, and can I soften that transition? Remember, a core shadow, the form shadow will be a soft transition, and cast shadows have hard edges close to the object which casts them. So after I've got this value structure laid in, I can take a paper towel, a burnishing stick, you can use your hands on this, it's fine. But you need to cement this vine charcoal into the paper, and I can always rotate a little cleaner to soften that edge. Now I can go back in with a kneaded eraser. I want to clear up where that highlight's going to be. I want to make sure I don't muddy up the light side of the sphere. So I'll also go back and I'll clean up some of my oblong edges here. So from here, I can add a little compressed charcoal. Be sure that you test it on a separate page. I just want to make sure I know what texture I'll be applying to my drawing. So follow that curve. I can also add a little compressed charcoal where the object hits this, the platform. I can add a little more crispness to that front edge of the cast shadow, and I'll even just indicate a core shadow on the base. And I can kind of crisp up a little bit on the bottom edge of the sphere. This will indicate some shadow. We can blend in the compressed charcoal. I want to account for the reflected light from the tabletop bouncing up to that back edge. So if that paper towel can't erase it, I can use my kneaded eraser, as well as I can use a regular Statler white eraser. And this will remove vastly more material than your kneaded eraser. Keep that in mind. I don't recommend the pink rubber erasers, but now we can go in with some white compressed charcoal, and I will also kind of test this texture out just to blunt the edge a little bit. Now I want to remember my value scale, soft transitions from light to dark. So I'll just initially put some texture down, take a clean paper towel, and we don't want to have vine charcoal or compressed charcoal mixing with the white charcoal. Use that tone of your paper as your mid-tone. Separate the boundary, soften the core shadow. Go back in with a little more texture according to our light source, and we can get that pinpoint highlight right where that light is kind of in that direction. So since we've got this, we can soften that value transition slightly, and we can obviously layer increasingly to get depth in our work. Go back in. And you'll always need to go back and punch that highlight up. And you can even add just a little more light. So the other thing we can do is consider adding a little vignette, and I will just indicate where light's hitting the table. A little around the shadow, I'll kind of silhouette the back of our object. And I'll add just a little more on the left. So from here, I can likewise blend it in. And the idea is smooth transitions. Now I can go in and clean up my edges. If you want, you can use charcoal pencil. Darken that separation between the base and the sphere. I want to hit the bottom of that pedestal again, crisp up the cast shadow edge, and remember that it goes soft as it's farther away from that object casting the shadow. And make sure to soften this back edge as well.